Hello everyone and welcome to chapter 2 part 1. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go over our vocab words today. We have 2 vocab words today that I want you to write nicely on your note page before you start your notes, okay? So I'm going to go over them really fast. I'm going to pull the board forward so then we can see it a little bit easier because it blurs out for some reason. And then I want you to pause your screen, so click the space bar and that pauses your YouTube video. Click the space bar and then I want you to write down the words, okay? Alright, so the first thing we're talking about is a thimble. Who knows what a thimble is? You only know what a thimble is if you've ever seen a sewing kit or heard somebody talking about sewing. So a thimble is a small pitted cup. Let's see, can I get it? There we go. There it is. Perfect. A thimble is a small pitted cup that goes over your finger to help you in sewing. So you put it on your finger to push really hard your needle through something tough, or it protects your finger from sewing. So thimbles are very handy in sewing. And our next vocab is a churn, a butter churn. This is another thing that we don't really ever have to deal with much today. We don't really deal with churns at all because we just go to the store and get our butter in a nice container, but definitely didn't have butter back then in the containers to sell at the store. You had to make your own butter with a butter churn. There it is. A butter churn, a machine or container in which butter is made by mixing milk and cream. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. You can make your own butter at home. Did you know that? With a water bottle. You just have to do it all day. You have to shake it all for forever. I remember I did it once. It's a lot of work. But you can still make your own churn. Pretty cool. But those are our 2 vocab words today. So get ready for this. This is pretty funny. This is Heather tried doing this earlier. Alright. Okay. Okay, go ahead and pause your screen. There we go. Right. Now. My goodness. There. Go ahead and pause your screen. Now. Okay. So, alright. That was very tough. Okay. Alright. So, today we're going to chapter 2 in our book. Alright, let's get started. Get cozy. Get ready. Get your note paper out if you want to take notes during me reading. Or your quiz if you want to do that. Or if you want to wait until after I'm done reading. For both of those you can if you just want to be listening. Up to you. Okay. Chapter 2. The winter days and winter nights. Ooh, I see a bear. And I see Paw. Ooh. What is that? We are definitely going to find out. The first snow came and the bitter cold. Every morning Pa took his gun and his traps and was gone all day in the big woods, setting the small traps for muskrats and mink along the creeks, the middle-sized traps for foxes and wolves in the woods. He set out the big bear traps, hoping to get a fat bear before they all went into their dens for winter. One morning, he came back, took the horses and sled, and hurried away again. He shot a bear. Laura and Mary jumped up and down and clapped their hands. They were so glad. Mary shouted, "I want the drumstick! I want the drumstick!" Mary did not know how big a bear's drumstick is. When Pa came back, he had both a bear and a pig in the wagon. He had been going through the woods with a bear trap in his hand and the gun on his shoulder. There you go. When he walked around a big pine tree covered with snow, and a bear was behind the tree. The bear had just killed the pig and was picking it up to eat it. Pa said the bear was standing up on his hind legs, holding the pig in its paws just as though they were hands. Pa shot the bear, and there was no way of knowing where the pig came from, nor whose pig it was. So I just brought home the bacon, Pa said. There was plenty of fresh meat to last for a long time. The days and nights were so cold that the pork in a box and the bear meat hanging in the little shed outside the back door, were solidly frozen and did not thaw. When Ma wanted fresh meat for dinner, Pa took the axe and cut off a chunk of frozen bear meat or pork. But the sausage balls or the salt pork or the smoked hams and venison, Ma could get herself from the shed or to the attic. She could get those on her own. The snow kept coming till it was drifted and banked against the house. In the mornings, the window panes were covered with frost, in beautiful pictures of trees and flowers and fairies. Ma said that Jack Frost came then that night and made the pictures while everyone was asleep. Laura thought that Jack Frost was a little man all snowy white, wearing a glittering white pointed cap and soft white knee boots made of deerskin. His coat was white and his mittens were white, and he did not carry a gun on his back, but in his hands he had shining, sharp tools which he carved the pictures. Laura and Mary were allowed to take Ma's thimble and made pretty patterns of circles in the frost of the glass. But they never spoiled the pictures that Jack Frost had made in the night. When they put their mouths close to the pane and blew their breath on it, the white frost melted and ran in drops down like glass. Then they could see the drifts of snow outdoors and the great trees standing bare and black, marking thin blue shadows on the white snow. Laura and Mary helped Ma with the work. Every morning there were dishes to wipe. Mary wiped more of them than Laura because she was bigger, but Laura always wiped carefully her own little cup and plate. By the time the dishes were all wiped and set away, the trundle bed was aired. Then, standing one on each side, Laura and Mary straightened the covers, tucked them in well at the foot and the sides, plumped up the pillows, and put them in place. Then Ma pushed the trundle bed into its place under the big bed. After this was done, Ma began the work that belonged to that day. Each day had its own proper work, Ma used to say. Wash on Monday, iron on Tuesday, mend on Wednesday, churn on Thursday, clean on Friday, bake on Saturday, and we finally got to rest on Sunday. Laura liked the churning and the baking days best of all the week. In winter, the cream was not yellow as it was in summer. The butter churned from it was white and not so pretty. Ma liked everything on her table to be pretty, so in winter time she colored the butter. After she had put the cream in a tall crockery churn, there it is. There's little Laura. Oh no, that's Mary. Let's see here. She washed and scraped a large orange-colored carrot. Then she grated it on the bottom of the old leaky tin pan that Pa had punched full of nail holes for her. Ma rubbed the carrot across the roughness until she had rubbed it all through the holes, and when she lifted up the pan, there was a soft, juicy mound of grated carrot. She put this in a little pan of milk on the stove, and when the milk was hot, she poured milk and carrot into a cloth bag. Then she squeezed the bright yellow milk into the churn where it colored all the cream. Now the butter would be yellow. That's pretty cool. So she just dyed it. That's fun. Laura and Mary were allowed to eat the carrot after the milk had been squeezed out. Mary thought she ought to have a larger share because she was older. And Laura said that she should have it because she was littler and needed to grow. But Ma said they must divide it evenly. It was very good. When the cream was ready, Ma scalded the long wooden churn dash, put it in the churn, and dropped the wooden churn cover over it. The churn cover had a little round hole in the middle, and Ma moved the dash up and down through the hole. She churned for a long time. Mary could sometimes churn while Ma rested, but the dash was too heavy for Laura. So if you look in this picture, we have the churn cover and we have the dash. The dash is this big heavy stick right here. Okay, so they'd move that big heavy stick and churn the butter, and they'd have to do it for hours sometimes. So you just have to sit there and just agitate, move that big stick in there, keep it moving, and then you would have the end. Okay, let's see here. At first, the splashes of cream showed thick and smooth around the little hole. After a long time, they began to look grainy. Then Ma churned more slowly, and on the dash there began to appear tiny grains of yellow butter. When Ma took off the churn cover, there was butter in a golden lump, drowning in buttermilk. Then Ma took out the lump with a wooden paddle into a wooden bowl, and she washed it many times in cold water, turning it over and over and working it with a paddle until the water ran clear. After that, she salted it. Now came the best part of churning. Ma molded the butter. On the loose bottom of the wooden butter mold, she carved the picture of a strawberry with 2 strawberry leaves. With the paddle, Ma packed butter tightly into the mold until it was full. Then she turned it upside down over a plate and pushed on the handle of the loose bottom. The little firm pat of golden butter came out with the strawberry and its leaves molded on top. So when we say molded, that just means formed. So she made a little form of strawberries, and then she packed the butter in, and then the butter had a cute picture of a strawberry on it. Laura and Mary watched breathless, one on each side of Ma, while the golden little butter pats, each with its strawberry on top, dropped on the plate as Ma put all the butter through the mold. Then Ma gave them each a drink of good, fresh buttermilk. On Saturdays, when Ma made the bread, they each had a little piece of dough to make into the little loaf. They might have a bit of cookie dough, too, to make little cookies, and once Laura even made a pie in her patty pan, a little tiny pan. After the day's work was done, Ma sometimes cut paper dolls for them. She cut the dolls out of stiff white paper and drew the faces with a pencil. Then, from bits of colored paper, she cut dresses and hats, ribbons and laces, so that Laura and Mary could dress their dolls beautifully. All right, so that's the end right now of Chapter 2, Part 1. All right, so go ahead. If you were taking notes, you need to take at least 4. By golly, please take more if you want. This was a pretty interesting day. Because we learned about how butter is made. We learned about a lot of the chores during the week and what Pa does every day. Pa doesn't get to sit at home and watch TV, does he? Pa has a very busy, hard life during winter. He's always out looking around for meat for his family, so they'll have plenty of food. This is a busy family, huh? They don't rest during winter. All right, so go ahead, do your notes if you need to. Look over your quiz, see if there's any questions that you can answer from today's lesson. All right, and other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow.